gonna let this ride out for a little bit. Let everybody get situated. We're gonna let this ride out for a little bit. Let everybody get situated. See everybody situated. Go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for lending their ears for these few minutes. I go by Joe, by the way, if anyone's asking. If not, they call me Joe. Let me just share some of my thoughts, man. All right. So they say that today will be different. Guess that's my fault for remembering all these phony tracks put on wax. Let them feature them. Flows, I be kicking them. Tracks, I be ripping them. All these tires screeching in just to get a peek of him. Please excuse my thoughts, they just kicking in. All I ever wanna be is one with the wind. Find myself inside this world, walk with a friend. And all that no one knew that I can be the hidden gem, shameless. 12 years later, still nameless. All I ever heard, Joe, you can be famous. No, not for me. Foreshadow my beliefs. Song speaking to the crowd. All ears, head dancing. Cheers. Now they all got their hands in. Dorothy SBs like I'm headed back to Kansas. Caught in smoke screens and held the fumes to paint the canvas. Iridescent pastels and screams is outlandish. No mind brighter than what I be on. Osmosis get your sight see on. Out of this world, this where I belong. Brainstorm a platform to be on. Monica, I'm so gone, so long. Levitation, no more works for gravity. Just a box of phone pilots in these bags of longevity. I have nothing for you, so why you standing next to me? All right. Brisk movers can make the eyes twitch. Sudden moments make the mind think. Luck is on my side, need a clover head. Heartless motion can make the soul sink. I'm on a brink of no control. Admit my wrongdoings and the thoughts that I disclose. The present moving fast, the mishaps I can't control. These pastures looking greener with a field full of gnomes, right? Traveling speeds, my dabble increase. Matrimonial seeds, challenges meet. Lavish potions they serve, these poisons we drink. For these fortunes we seek, this bottle I sink. Yeah, arms link, place in arms reach. Try your hand up on the water, make it so weak. Make it sacrifice your daughter, man, this shit's deep. Thought of that, irregardless, man, I can't breathe. Middle fingers to the witness. How could y'all let that boy George fall victim? That's a double meaning. Hats off if you get it. Shouts to the rosy cheek, clockwork orange light. No, I want my aura bright orange light. Label me an outcast, though I still kill a mic. Ready for a meal. Got that Willie Beeman appetite. Relaying message back to myself. Joe will be fine. I'll let this ride out.
Welcome everyone to Karmic Dynasty. I appreciate you all joining us. Definitely. I have here with me this evening, Michael Coles. Michael Coles has been here and he has shared before while he was here his initially his tarot set, the Kemetic Tarot Veil of Aset. And that broadcast streamed back in March. And Michael has been here since then, and he is here again this evening. I appreciate you being here on Karmic Dynasty. Once again, welcome. And if you would, introduce yourself and open as you see fit. And again, thank you for your time this evening. Michael, thank you.
All right. Hey, well, thank you, Joy. I appreciate it. Hello to everybody. I guess the best way to get started is just to jump into it. I wanted to tonight talk about Khonshu, the Kemetic moon deity, the Neteru of the moon. And the reason I want to talk about him tonight is because there's a Marvel TV show now based on a Marvel comic book called Moon Knight, and it features Khonshu. Khonshu is actually the source of power for the superhero they call Moon Knight. He actually gives his powers to Moon Knight. The Moon Knight goes out and, is a superhero. So I wanted to talk about the differences between the original Kemetic Khonsu and Marvel's version of Khonshu, what they got right, what they got wrong, the differences, the similarities, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, so far I think I've watched up to episode 4 of the first series.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's episode 4.
What do you think so far?
Actually, I'm actually not jumping into your presentation. I'm actually surprised at the information that they shared that is correct. That was a surprise to me. Yeah. So
I was surprised as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised. There's a lot of details that I'm like, wow, they really shared that. But the thing is, if the viewer is not already aware, it may just seem like a form of entertainment that they do, and it may go over their head. But for those of us who are in that knowledge, it's shocking, and I'm surprised at how much knowledge that they shared. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually surprised. There's a lot of stuff that's known about Khonshu. It's really well known. A lot of people know it. It's widespread. But there's some things that they worked into it that you really have to dig kind of deep to find out some of this stuff. And we're going to cover some of that tonight as well. Definitely. There's stuff that's kind of hidden in kind of hidden in the background that you never really hear about.
Right.
So, but we'll talk about that tonight as well.
We'll be talking about that tonight as well. All right, we ready. Pen and paper, we ready.
All right. So we'll start with who is Khonshu? Khonshu is a Kemetic Neteru lunar deity, right? He's a moon god. His name actually means traveler, and he also has the titles Defender, Pathfinder, and He Who Embraces. So he's known as a good deity for people. He's actually, he's a good guy, right? He's usually shown with a crescent-shaped crown, so you can see on the image to the right. He has a falcon's head, and he has a half-moon crown. He also has a solar disc. That disc up there can be either a solar disc for the sun or a lunar disc for the moon. Now, it might seem weird that, the moon god, the moon, the terror of the moon, has a sun disc on his head. But the original Kemetic story goes that the moon was originally as bright as the sun. So they were both the same brightness. And then after Khonshu wagered with Tahuti for some of his power, that was when the moon lost some of its brightness and became paler than the sun. And also you have the stories about the sun and the moon being equated to Heru's right and left eye, respectively, and Set damaged or essentially ripped out Heru's left eye.
Right.
And then it was healed later with a milky substance by Tahuti or by Hathor, depending on who you read. They basically put a milky substance in it. And that milky substance regenerated it, but it didn't regenerate it at its full brightness. So it was always pale and milky because of the milky substance. So that's why the moon is less bright than the sun now. But originally, the story was the moon was as bright as the sun.
Yep.
And many times he's shown with the head of a falcon. Now, when he's shown in human form, which is the next slide, in human form, he's part of the Theban triad, right? The group of 3 Neteru. He was the son of Amun-Ra and Mut, and he made the third person in that triad. And the triads in ancient Kemet were always a father, a son, and a father, mother, and a son, right? So you think of the Christian Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Right. Well, in Kemet, it is always father, mother, and son. Always the son, right? All right. And the next one is, go back to the slide. He's often shown so in his human form, right? When he's in the form of a person, a human, he's often shown holding the crook and flail, as you can see in the image, and also the was scepter with the dyad pillar at the top. Dyad pillar is known as the spine of Assur. It's closely related to Assur and to Khonsu. Oh, I'm sorry, Ptah. I said Khonsu. It's closely related to Assur and Ptah, right? Basically, the god of architects, the god of building things, the god of structures. So that's related to both of them, and it's supposed to be, I guess, in its relationship to Ptah, it actually represents the spine of a bull, which is the sacred animal of Ptah. All right. So the next one. In human form, he's usually mummified. So they usually show him with the mummification cloths wrapped around his body. And he's also young, right? He's a young Neteru. He's one of the youngest. Usually he's a child, a young kid. And he's always shown with a side lock of hair in the style of a young Kemetic man. What they used to do is they would shave their heads bald, except for that little side lock of hair on boys. And then once the boy reached manhood, once he reached adulthood, they would go through a ceremony where they would shave that lock of hair off, and now you're a man, right? So sort of a rite of passage for young men. But he's always shown with that side lock of hair, indicating that he's a little kid. He's a young boy. He's not a full-grown man. And that and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Some of the stuff that comes with that, with being a little kid and not being a full-grown man yet. All right. So any questions so far?
No, we don't have any questions so far.
All right. All right. So Marvel's Khonshu, we'll start with him. You might notice that for Marvel's Khonshu, they use a variation of the name, Khonshu, and there are a few different variations of the name. They all mean the same thing. They're all similar to one another. There's no real difference between them. It's just when different people wrote it, they wrote it slightly differently. When it's converted over to English, essentially, through the Latin and all that good stuff. All right. Moon Knight's Khonshu appears with a bird skull for his head and an exaggerated beak. So going back to his appearance as a hawk, a human with a hawk head, but they really exaggerate the beak on there for some reason. I'm not sure why, but, it gets the point across that he is a bird. Marvel Khonshu is also wrapped in mummification cloth, as you can see. So he's wrapped with all the linens of the mummy. Now, they got rid of the crescent crown for Marvel. That's how they do it in the comics. I don't know why they did that. But instead, they gave him a scepter that's shaped with a crescent at the top, shaped like a crescent moon. So they kept the crescent. They just moved it to a different area. Not sure why they made that choice, but, Now, a little bit about the personalities. Now, Kemetic Khonsu, the original Khonshu, was a young man. He was boastful, and he was an impulsive gambler, right? And we know he's an impulsive gambler because of the story of the birth of Aset, in which Khonshu played a gambling game. He actually gambled with Tahuti for a portion of his power, some of his magic. And the reason Tahuti chose to gamble with him to get some of his power was because he knew he was an impulsive gambler. He loves to gamble. Now, Marvel's Khonshu also acts immature, and he's boastful and impulsive. And as you watch the TV show, for those who have seen it, he likes to brag and boast and holler and scream, and he doesn't act like a mature adult, right?
Yeah, he throws tantrums. Yes,
he does. Tantrums, exactly. He acts like a child, right? Because he is a child. So, although he has a very deep voice for a child in Marvel's TV show, but he's still a child. All right. And also in the comics, same thing in the comics. He acts. They did a really good job of carrying over his personality from the comics into the TV show. He really just is all over the map with his, bragging about stuff and talking crazy and just, really, I'm the best at this, I'm the best at that. You better do what I say. That kind of stuff, right? And very impulsive. I'm going to do this right now, and I don't care what happens. That type of stuff, right?
Now, before we move on, because you keep mentioning the comics, which relates, I honestly, when my son actually referred this series to me on, it's on Disney Channel?
Yeah.
Disney, the app.
Disney
I
Plus.
use the app. Yeah. Disney Plus. And so I'm like, okay, so, and he don't do that. So I paid extra attention to it. And when I saw it on Disney, of course, that means it's Marvel or Pixar or something. And I'm like, I could really consider myself a Marvel follower, fan, and DC as well. And to know that this character has existed as far back as the comic books, and I didn't know about it, I was set back a little bit, almost a little bit offended, like how I didn't know about this before. So I'm definitely interested in finishing out the series, and definitely interested in sharing this presentation that you have prepared for everyone today, this evening. We're here.
Okay, so I can actually tell you a little bit about the comics.
Thank you.
I don't want to take too much time with it, but basically in the comics, he was introduced as sort of a side character early on.
Okay.
In a series called Werewolf by Night, right? It's another Marvel character, a guy who basically, he's a werewolf. That's his superpower, right? And he was brought in to fight against Werewolf by Night. Mm-hmm. Well, they just brought him in sort of as a one shot. They just made him up for like one storyline. They brought him in, but he got a really good fan reaction. So they actually started building a bigger story for him. And eventually they gave him his own short series. And, the series, it did okay, but it didn't do great. So they got rid of it. Then they brought him back for another series, and it did okay, but didn't do great. So they got rid of it. And they kept doing that with him. So that's the thing with Moon Knight. They keep bringing him back for short series, and then they get rid of him. Then they bring him back again and get rid of him. Bring him back again and get rid of him. So
okay, cool. That explains a lot, because I was feeling like left out for real.
Yeah, he's never been like a major character, right? Like a big, like a Spider-Man or even Iron Man or a major character. He's always been like a smaller character,
right?
But the fans like him, and they bring him in for a short series and bring him in as a guest character in other comics.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not using him as like a court jester or something, are they?
No,
for amusement purposes. Okay, I'm gonna definitely check out the comic.
No. In fact, they call him. Some people refer to him as the Batman, Marvel's Batman, right? Marvel's answer to Batman.
Okay.
Which, I mean, some it sort of makes sense on some levels. One of his personalities. Spoiler alert: he has multiple personalities, right? He has as many as 3 or 4 different personalities. And
I only know Mark and Steven.
Yeah, well, there's more coming.
Yeah,
and there's even more.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and there's even more on top of that they don't even get into. But yeah, he has like multiple personalities. One of those personalities is a billionaire playboy, right? So he just has a lot of money stacked away, and he can like buy all kinds of gadgets and stuff.
Oh, so that explains the storage unit. The items that Mark found in the storage unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be actually, well, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, there was money in there.
Yeah, I just assumed that was money that he got from doing bad stuff, and
That's possible too. We'll put it together. We'll connect it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going on to the next slide now.
Okay. So let's talk about Khonshu, the original Khonshu, Kemetic Khonsu. He's a master of magic, and he controls the moon, the night sky, and he controls time. Right? Marvel's Khonshu character has the same powers. He can do the same stuff, right? And you'll understand as you watch the TV show that he has some of these powers as well. You'll see, some of these powers on display. Kemetic Khonsu the original Khonshu can also control evil spirits and demons. There's a story called The Princess of Beketin. And in that story, he actually essentially cast demons out of the princess's. The princess is possessed by a demon. He actually casts the demon out, throws the demon out of her, right? So he can control spirits and demons. And Marvel's Khonshu actually kills demons. He actually goes around killing demons. So there is sort of a parallel there, right? The original Kemetic Khonsu has healing powers. And in Marvel, Khonshu, he can actually heal and resurrect dead mortals. That's one of the things that he does with Mark Spector, his avatar, the guy that you're watching on the show. Yeah, he literally in the comics, every time he dies, he just whoop, brings him back to life. He dies again, whoop, brings him back to life. So there's that aspect too, the healing aspect. Kemetic Khonshu's power grows stronger and weaker as the moon waxes and wanes. So as the moon gets brighter and brighter and fuller, approaching a full moon, his power increases. And as it goes down towards away from a full moon and back to a new moon, his power decreases, right? And that again goes back to the gambling and the deal that he did with Tahuti, where Tahuti took enough of his power to add 5 extra days to the year, right? So, yeah, basically you have that added in, and they haven't really shown that aspect in the TV show, and I don't think they really dive into it in the comics either. It's not really something they get into, but that's one of his weaknesses is the waning moon.
Okay, so I have a question. When you were here on a previous broadcast, you were sharing, I forget what it's called. I think Kemetic Tales was in the title.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Now here on this slide, because let me hold on. During that broadcast, you spoke of how the Set and Asar story, along with Heru, is the Lion King story.
Yes.
And what was the other one? Was it Hamlet?
So the tale of Asur, the Asur cycle, right? Mm-hmm. With Asur being killed by his brother Set, by his evil brother Set, and then his son Heru going off into the wilderness and then coming back to fight his uncle to claim the throne. Yeah, that's the basis of it's the basis of Hamlet. It's the basis of Lion King. It's the same story structure repeated over and over. They reuse the same Kemetic stories when they wrote these other stories.
Right. So you share some other examples as well that were taken from Kemetic stories, Kemetic tales. Now, is this the Princess of Beketin that you mentioned on this slide in the third bullet point? Mm-hmm. Is this one of those tales as well that they have translated and or like Aesop's fables, revised it and used it in another manner people may know about today?
That's not one that I necessarily have. I can think of a direct translation for, but there are obvious parallels to the Bible, the New Testament.
Okay.
With Jesus casting out demons and all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
There's obvious parallels there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ancient, let's see, how do I put this? So in the Bible, Jesus's disciples and the apostles and all those people, right? They were reading these stories, right, in Greek. They were reading these old stories that have been translated to Greek. So these stories would be familiar to them. They would have known about all these stories. And I can't prove it, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that they looked at some of these stories and said, hey, if we're going to have a deity, he has to be at least as powerful as this guy. So he has to have a similar story, right? Where he did something similar. similar displays of power. We see the same thing with like the resurrection and the Asur cycle, right? You see, we have a deity who was resurrected from the dead. He has power over death, right? So our God has to have at least that much power. He has to have power over death.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, definitely.
All right.
God of vengeance.
God of vengeance. Marvel's Khonshu is called the God of vengeance. It's called a God of vengeance because he punishes evildoers. He calls his avatar, Mark Spector, the guy he gives his power to, the Fist of Khonshu, right? Because he goes around beating up bad guys, right? Or really killing bad guys, but doing it with his hands, right? Kemetic Khonsu, the original, is not really known for pursuing vengeance. He doesn't really. There's not any stories of him going out saying, "Hey, let me go out and get these bad guys and punish them." And that was more of a thing that happened with Ma'at, right? Ma'at, the underworld deities, the underworld Neteru, Asur, and Anpu, and just all the underworld Neteru, right? They're the ones that punished you, right? Khonshu, he didn't really go around punishing people. That wasn't really his thing. But he was known for protecting travelers, which I guess means if you were doing bad things to travelers, that you could get in trouble with Khonshu and probably, fall into some serious problems. But he didn't actually go out like judging bad people. That wasn't really his area. All right, and the next one, the God Eater. So
Sounds
spoiler
interesting.
alert.
Oh, there he goes, the interesting part.
Spoiler alert.
Go ahead, give it to us. Dang.
So Marvel's Khonshu does not get along well with the other Neteru, right? The Ennead,
Right.
they call them, right? The Great Council of Gods. He doesn't get along with them at all, right? So then you go back to that real quick. The question is, why doesn't he get along with them? And where does that come from? Is that rooted in tradition? And traditionally, Kemetic Khonshu, the original, he was originally called the God Eater. And the first mention that we have of him anywhere is in a text called the Cannibal Text, right? And that was the very first mention they've ever discovered of him. And his job was, he was asked, but he was tasked, right? So he was actually, one of his jobs was when the Pharaoh passed away, when the Pharaoh died, he had to go out and kill other Neteru so that the Pharaoh could eat them. He could eat their hearts and gain their powers. So they called it the Cannibal Text because of that, right? So one of his original jobs was to kill other Neteru. He was literally a god killer. Now, another passage later on, right, that they discovered basically says that he would eat the heart of the Pharaoh. Khonshu would eat the heart of the Pharaoh to gain his powers. So, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on there, but basically it shows that he was a pretty tough dude. He could kill gods and pharaohs themselves were gods. So, pretty powerful dude if you can kill Neteru and get away with it.
Right, and actually the God Eater, this is new to me as of reviewing your presentation.
Yeah, and they call him He Who Lives on Hearts.
That's another thing that floored me.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, they called him He Who Lives on Hearts because he ate the Pharaoh's hearts to absorb their power. But this is something that they actually kind of got right in Marvel. He doesn't really go out hunting other Neteru in Marvel, but he doesn't get along with them at all.
Right.
He just really doesn't like them, right? Kind of on a real visceral level. Just really like no, right?
So, and I was thinking when you were speaking that was maybe due to his like seem to be levels of immaturity and his childlike and like almost like irresponsible behaviors.
Yeah. Well, I see someone typed in Khonshu punishes people after a crime, and Amit punishes people before the crime is committed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Marvel invention. That has nothing to do with the original, and that is only for the TV show.
And I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah. Amit punishes you after you've been judged in the Dua, or in the Great Hall, the Hall of Two Truths. After you travel through the Dua, that's when Amit punishes you. She literally eats your heart, right? And when she eats your heart, you go back into nothingness. It's like you never existed.
Because
worst. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I was just gonna say that's the worst fate that they could imagine. Basically, like never existing, not existing at all. Being dead was nothing because you can go live in the afterlife, right? Being alive, that's fine, but never existing, not even existing, right? That was like the worst thing that could happen to you in ancient Kemet.
So I was going to say that so speaking of that, on the guy that I forget his name right now, he was the one who he had the scales on his arm right here, and so they so they don't I don't remember them mentioning the heart, but they definitely had the scales, and there was no mention of the feather either. I don't know.
Although, well, you're on episode 4, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So
I'm on the episode where the personalities can see each other in the physical. They're side by side.
Okay.
I'm on the episode after they came into each other.
Have you got to the boat yet?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't want to give you any spoilers, but don't worry. The scales and the feather are coming, and the heart, the scales, all that's coming.
Yeah, because all that goes in line with what you're saying about the God Eater and living on hearts, because that is the scene that we're talking about, which Marvel just totally took it another direction.
Yeah.
In regards to this comment from the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Khonshu, in ancient Kemet, he didn't really punish people. That wasn't his thing, unless you like directly disrespected him in some way, right? Like if you hurt travelers or you did something to disrespect him, then he might punish you, right? But he didn't go out looking for bad guys and bad people who did bad things in general. That was Mayat's job after you died, right? After you passed away. She's the one who would basically, Anpu actually would weigh your heart on his scale against her feather, and whether or not you were a good person or a bad person, and then you'll be punished. So that was really the job of the underworld of terror, to punish you. It didn't, what they did with
reward you.
Or reward you, absolutely.
Yes.
So the whole thing is Amit punishing people before the crime is committed. That's just totally Marvel. They just made that up just so they could have a bad guy, right? And I guess even in the comic books, they don't go into that in the comics, right? They have other bad guys they deal with. Amit really comes through as sort of a protector of Khonshu, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can't believe Marvel, Disney, or DC Comics for the truth lies. It's artistic. It's artistic license, right? They just don't know, and they want to make their stories interesting. They have to have a bad guy, so they're like, let's make Amit the bad guy, right? I mean, and it kind of makes sense, but in order to make her the bad guy, they have to make her the bad guy to living people, because nobody cares after you're dead, right? So
yeah, and then actually
too hard on them.
Also, with my recent activities with all these movies and these reviews I'm sharing on these broadcasts, I've gained the knowing that some people look at the bad person as actually the hero.
Yeah.
So Khonshu being the hero here, means that, so definitely from what I know so far, Khonshu's effort, I keep forget what is that one guy's name that has the scales on his
Oh,
arm? Yeah,
honestly,
him.
I don't know.
So yeah,
It's not
Khonshu's whole thing is to just put him out the way and his whole agenda,
yeah,
which then the people would not be destroyed beforehand, as is what is in the comments as well.
yeah,
So addressing that part as well.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, and the whole thing is they have to have a bad guy, so they chose Amit and said she's scary. Use her, right? They could have very easily chosen Sid.
Right.
They could have chosen, any number of deities who were just not nice people to be the bad guy, but they just chose Amit.
Yes, something else.
And
And actually,
it makes for an interesting story.
yeah, and as I mentioned when you were here on your tarot broadcast, I'm gonna share this one more time because I can. When you were here with revealing the Kemetic Tarot Veil of I sat here on Karmic Dynasty, I had complimented you on the card of Amit. You say Amit. And even with Disney, whoever made the movie, whoever, they could not be more creative or more complimenting to that character. I still see the best compliments to in a character in the movie is a character. The best compliments are in your tarot set.
Well, thank you.
Still,
Yeah.
I'm like Disney failed right there too.
Well, thank you. But
Whoever.
it's Disney. They don't want to make it too too sexy.
Not at all.
Okay, so back to the presentation.
Yeah, trapped in statues. Definitely need to talk about this one.
Trapped in statues. Yes. So what you'll notice is that Khonshu, when you watch the TV show, and even in the comics, Khonshu gets trapped in statues a lot. Right? He starts out. Mark Spector finds him when he's in a statue. Right? He's like at some archaeological dig site in Egypt at the time, and he gets shot up and he's about to die, and he's at the foot of the statue of Khonshu, and Khonshu's inside the statue, and Khonshu looks down at him and says, "Hey, you want to live or you want to die?" Right? He's like, "I want to live." He said, "Okay, just be my, do whatever I tell you to, and I'll give you powers and I'll let you live, no problem." Right? Later in the series, and I guess I have to give you a spoiler here. So
Yeah, because that's a spoiler, right? Was that what you just mentioned, a flashback? Because that ain't how it opened.
There's that one.
Yeah, so that was a spoiler alert for me. Go ahead with your next one.
Well, but that's sort of his backstory, and
Yeah.
I think they cover that in the TV show briefly. Like they have like a 15-second thing where they kind of show him, this is how I got my powers, right? But it's in the comics. It's well known in the comics. But now I'm about to give you a real spoiler. So anyone that doesn't want to hear this spoiler, cover your ears for like 15 seconds. Basically, in the TV show, he gets trapped in a statue, in a small statue, right? He basically gets trapped in this little tiny statue, and there is a precedent for that. That actually happened in Kemetic folklore, right? In the Kemetic tales. The Princess of Becton is the story again, right? Basically, he's trapped in a statue, and the king sends the statue down to a lower kingdom. The pharaoh sends the statue down to a lower kingdom called Becton to free the princess from the demon that is possessing her. Right? When the statue arrives, Khonshu is in the statue, and Khonshu in the statue makes the demon go away. He says, you got to get out of here, beat it. And the demon's like, and he takes off, right? And that's that. They have a big feast, and, everyone's happy. The prince in that story, the lower king, I guess, the lower level king who is the princess's father, he decides, I'm going to keep the statue of Khonshu here. So he basically traps Khonshu in that statue and keeps him trapped as hostage in his kingdom for a year. Then after a year, he realizes, oh, I've done a bad thing. I better send the statue back to the pharaoh with a whole bunch of sacrifices, gold and jewels and cattle and whatever. I've trapped the god in the statue for a year. That's not right, right? That's a terrible thing to do. So he sends them back up, to the pharaoh with all these gifts and everything, and the pharaoh sacrifices them to Khonshu in his temple, and that's kind of the end of the story. But the main thing is there's a series of there is a precedent for that, right? There's a story behind that, and it has happened in the past. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for Marvel to say, hey, we're going to trap him in a statue.
Okay, so here's a possible question.
Yeah,
Let's discuss
be careful
this.
what you buy at the thrift shop.
Yes. Thank you.
I don't know if you buy a statue with Khonshu trapped in it at the thrift shop, you're doing pretty good. You're going to get rid of all your demons and everything. So the statue that he's trapped in is called an Ushapti, and I have a picture of that here. The Ushapti is actually a small statue. Generally, it's a small statue of a person that they would bury with someone when they died during the burial ceremonies. They would bury like a whole bunch of Ushapti with them. And those Ushapti, when you arrived in the Duat, right, and after you got through the Hall of Two Truths and finally made it to Aru, the paradise, the Ushapti would come to life and work for you. They would do your chores for you. So it was like burying you with your servants, but no one had to die. All right. And by the way, this Princess of Becton story is actually, I have to check. I think it's available on my website, kemetictarot.net. If not, I'll add it. But I have lots of stories up there, so. All right. And the next one. Okay, so just kind of to give a quick summary, Marvel's Moon Knight is pretty accurate, right? As far as all the important aspects of Khonshu. It gets his powers, his personality, his weaknesses. His main weakness is that is that he can be trapped in statues, right? The other weakness about the moon getting brighter and getting, less bright over time, kind of drawing his power. That's not covered as much, but they do cover statue trapping stuff. His personality, which is, just a child, right? He's an immature child, and he throws tantrums. He gets mad and yells and screams and kicks and hollers, but that's what kids do, right? And his powers, he controls time, he controls the moon, he controls the night sky. So they pretty much cover, and he controls demons and can cast out demons, or in Marvel, he kills them. So they pretty accurately capture everything. I guess the most surprising thing to me is all the stuff about, his association with the moon and with time and with, the night sky. All that stuff is very well documented, very easy to find. That's like the first stuff you learn, right? I mean, he's the Neteru of the moon. So all that stuff comes with the moon. The moon, if you're a moon deity, then you control the moon, right? Also, the moon is in the night sky, so you have power over the night sky. It's automatic. Kemetic people measured the passage of time using the moon, right? So months were, 30 days long, right? And basically full moon to full moon or new moon to new moon. That's your month, right? So they measured the passage of time using the moon. So that's where the control of the moon time comes from. He was a young kid, so, he's going to act like a little kid. He's not going to act like a mature adult. But some of the stuff about him not getting along with the other Neteru, being the God Eater and all that good stuff, that stuff is a little harder to find. And I was actually surprised that they kind of picked up on that, kind of worked it into their story, because that stuff is not like part of the normal, major stories that you find. That's like the first mention of him. And that was even before he was known as a moon deity, right? The cannibal text. In the cannibal text, there's actually a moon deity at the time, a different moon deity, different Natera of the moon. And his name is Yah, right? Y-A-H, Yah, right? So, well, he wasn't a very interesting deity, and eventually they just kind of sidelined him. He's still mentioned every now and then, but his powers, never evolved. They never wrote any stories about him. They never built any temples to him. He just wasn't that interesting. So they kind of got rid of him and replaced him with Khonshu over time. But in the original text, where he was the God Eater, he wasn't even considered a moon deity. So, it's one of those things you really have to search for that stuff to find it and work it into your story. So I was actually surprised by that. And I guess that's pretty much it.
I think so. And the other thing on here is you had mentioned your website.
Yes.
For more tales.
Yeah. So I have a whole section up here called Wisdom. Excuse me. It's currently available in English and French, and it has Tales of Kemet, right? Just ancient stories. Stories about, like this one, the Princess of Becton, and stories about a Set and a Sor and, all the different deities. So, just feel free to go in there, take a look. There's no paywall, totally free. Knock yourself out. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you real quick. Let me back this up real quick and show you this. My background here is actually from the temple of Khonshu at Karnak, right? And over here, get my finger right. Over here you have Khonshu. You can see the hawk head, the crescent crown, the crescent crown, the lunar disc or the solar disc, right? You see his staff, his wasp scepter. Here, this guy is this guy is probably the pharaoh. At the time, this guy's the pharaoh. You can tell because he has the cobra on his crown right here, the Ujat cobra or Wajat cobra. And he's presenting lotus flowers to Khonshu, so he's worshiping Khonshu. Over here, you have Amun-Ra, Khonshu's father, right? And he also has a wasp scepter. He's wearing the red crown. And here you have what is this would be the queen, Pharaoh's wife, right? And you see her hand is up right there. She's worshiping Amun-Ra. And behind her is Mu, Khonshu's mother. You can see she has the cobra headdress. She has the horns of Hathor that basically say she's a maternal deity. She has the solar disc. So this is actually taken from the temple of Khonshu at Karnak, and it is it was put up, I believe. Trying to think which pharaoh initially put it up. It was actually put up by I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Oh well. I want to say Tutmos, but it wasn't Tutmos. It was, I believe it was Akhenaten's father. Well, I'll look it up and get back to you. But it was put up by one pharaoh, and then subsequent pharaohs all added their names to him, right? So 3 or 4 pharaohs after him just kept adding their names and blank spaces on the walls, kind of taking credit for it. But up here, if you look right here, like for instance, this hieroglyph right here, or even up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. You see right here, this on, you have a staff right here, right? And then over here you have Ma'at.
Okay.
The symbol for Ma'at. She has the feather sticking up out of her head. She has the Ankh. She's seated. And then you have the solar disk up here.
Right.
And this reads the power or the powerful Ma'at, or the powerful truth of Ra. The power and the truth of Ra. And you see that's repeated across the top, right? And the reason this is important is because this was actually a title given to various pharaohs. It was a title that many pharaohs picked up, right? Beloved by Ma'at, or the power of Ma'at in Ra, the power of Ra's Ma'at, the power of Ra's truth. So, yeah, you pick up a lot of this kind of interesting stuff as you go. So up here, up top, you see that it's a bunch of titles for the, or actually repeated the same title over and over for the pharaohs.
Okay.
And they're all in those cartouches, which means they're important. That's how you know their names, and not just, random words.
Right. And also in this scene, which takes us back near the beginning of tonight's presentation, we see the son, the father, and the mother.
Yep. The Theban triad.
That's right.
Yep. Father, the mother, and the Holy Son.
All right. So from the presentation, we see that we saw the summary. So was there anything else you wanted to share with us this evening before we leave here?
Oh, you know what? There is one thing. I'm going to, tonight, I'm going to give away a Kemetic tarot set.
Serious?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me
US,
put my banner up.
only shipping to the U.S. because I'll tell you, the VAT taxes and the crazy paperwork to ship it overseas, I can't do it. So U.S. only. Give that away. And then, in addition, we're going to give away 2 Tayet amulets like this, made out of red jasper. So semi-precious red jasper.
I'm going to leave you here with everybody right quick. Because some people are new. They have not been here to see the tarot set. Can you talk to them?
Yeah, so I don't know how many people have seen the tarot set. I do have one sort of handy.
Yeah, I had to go get mine right quick because mine was handy.
Yeah, I have one that's open here. The tarot set comes with a card bag. It's a 2-layer velvet and satin. You get 2 books with it. The Kemetic Tarot Veil of a Set guidebook, and also the Veil of a Set book that contains Tales of the Goddess, several stories about the life of a set. The cards themselves, which are gold foil embossed on the front and back, and gold on the edges, gold gilded on the edges. And you get a Tayet amulet with it, red jasper. So we'll be giving away one of these tonight.
Phoenix Jean said, I'll take that, please. Thank you. Yep, so I know before. Now, again, this is total shock to me. It's a surprise. So
yeah, I didn't tell you. But.
Yeah, you didn't tell me. So before you would have the trivia, so I would only guess, Phoenix Jean, that you have to answer. Well, you answer the trivia correctly. and you'd have to be willing to share your contact information with myself or directly with Michael so he can get the item, the set to you. Whoever answers it correctly first, and you have to type it in for record keeping purposes. Type it in the comment section, and you have to have a U.S. mailing address. That's a requirement. We appreciate y'all. Is there anything else I left out?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, so how's this gonna work? It's trivia.
Yeah, we'll do a trivia real quick.
Okay.
All right,
We're ready.
all right, so here we go. Khonshu was referred to as what in the cannibal text?
The cannibal.
The cannibal text.
Khonshu was referred to as what?
What was the name he was given in the cannibal text?
Name of Khonshu in the cannibal text. We're waiting. I'm gonna have to get together some Jeopardy music for y'all or something. Because we're waiting.
Just remember, it's the one where we talked about him. One of his jobs being to kill the other Netero and bring them back to the pharaohs so he could eat them.
Yeah, we mentioned
hearts. Their power.
Yeah.
He was given a very specific name in that story.
Okay, they usually answer quicker.
That might be a tough one. It was.
I see nothing yet.
Okay.
And right now I'm streaming live on Facebook, my Joy Allen page. I'm also streaming live on YouTube, Karmic Dynasty, and live on my Twitter account. And I'm actually, the video's been shared in a few places. So I'm on other Facebook groups and pages. And
Marketers Media got it.
Answer.
Perfect. The God Eater.
Here's media.
You got it.
Right.
She got it. They got it.
So Marketeers Media will contact me and share their mailing address, and Michael will get the item to you.
Yeah.
Or you can contact Michael on Instagram as well. So, yep, U.S. mailing address. That's it, right?
All right. So now we'll do one of the, that was for the tarot cards.
Okay.
Now we'll do Tayet Amulet. All right.
Oh, those are
Red Jasper, semi-precious stone. Ooh, I'm sweating. It's too hot up here, I'm telling you. All right. So I guess our question for this one will be, we said there were several titles that Khonshu had, several names, several titles that the name Khonshu means. Give me one of them. Just one.
Titles of Khonshu. Just one.
Just one.
Okay, so while we wait for them to come with an answer, U.S. mailing addresses only. Contact myself or Michael when you win.
Moon God. You know what? I'll take that. We'll take that.
We'll take that. We'll take that.
I'll take that, but only because I'm giving away two of these. If I was only giving away one, I wouldn't take that one. But I will take that. Brutha, you
so
got
what was the answer?
Well, that's what we're about to find out. Because for this one, give me another title. Akasha, no.
Okay, so the Tayet amulet.
No, not alternate spellings of the name. Khan is an alternate spelling of the name, right? Chon. These are alternate spellings. No, we covered this. It has to be a title that I gave you in the presentation, right? During the talk.
Okay. So, oh yeah. Okay, yeah. All right. Brother Human says, give theirs to. They answered Moon God. They said, give theirs to Phoenix Jean. I have Phoenix Jean's information, so I'll make sure Phoenix Jean gets that. Oh, Akashic
God
records.
night.
That's what they were saying.
No.
Okay, God night
No.
is the answer.
That's a good guess though, but no. Con. No.
So more on the Tayet amulet, known as the knot of Aset or the girdle of Aset, is made of natural semi-precious red jasper stone formed from deposits of volcanic ash buried deep within the earth. The amulet, when you receive it, was custom cut from natural red jasper stone to specifications found in the Egyptian book of Coming Forth by Day. It was then polished to a smooth and shiny finish. Like all natural stones, your red jasper Tayet amulet has inclusions which make it unique. These inclusions are caused by minerals that were embedded in the volcanic rock before it cooled to form hardened jasper. These embedded minerals may appear in your amulet as color specks, thick stripes, thin lines, and other patterns that range in color from very light yellow to nearly black in color. These patterns may run vertically, horizontally through your amulet. These inclusions are a property of the natural stone and they make your Tayet amulet a one of a kind showpiece. We don't have any answers yet. God of the Stars.
I see God of the Stars. Actually, Newt was the goddess of the stars, goddess of the cosmos, goddess of the sky. She was the goddess of the stars. So.
Right. Okay. So the only thing left giving away is a Tayet amulet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we gave away a Tayet amulet and the tarot cards.
Yeah. So we got one amulet left.
One amulet left. Defender. There we go.
Yay!
Wait, didn't he already win one?
Yes, Brother Human won one and shared it with Phoenix Jean.
Oh, he's just winning for everybody. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yep. Traveler. Phoenix Jean said, can you give a hint? But we have the Defender. Traveler.
Look at that.
Okay.
You know what? We'll go ahead and do 3. So, Brother Human, Cherie Reed L, and of course, who else do we say up here?
Phoenix Jean.
Yeah.
Phoenix Jean.
And Marketeers Media got the tarot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, Marketeers Media and everyone else, send your info, your mailing address, your info to Michael directly. This is Michael's information in the ticker going across your screen. Brother Human says, give theirs to someone else, please. So, Brother Human.
Why you keep answering if you want to give them to someone else?
I was about to say, Brother Human, if you would point out someone that you see in the comment section, but these are Michael's products, so I'm Michael said.
Yeah, Brother Human, pick someone.
He said pick someone. And for anyone that wants to share their information with me, some of you like Phoenix Jean, for sure, I have Phoenix Jean's contact information. My information's in the ticker below. You can share it with me, and I'll get it to Michael. As all of the other,
I don't think my email's down there. Just yeah. I mean, maybe they should just email it to you.
Your email. You want your email in here? I can add it.
Otherwise, I have a hard time getting a hold of me.
Well, you got your Instagram. Instagram got inbox.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I didn't see the Instagram on there. That'll work.
Okay. You want your mailing address? Well, is Michael? Do you want it on here? I can add it.
It doesn't matter. They hit me on Instagram. It's fine.
Okay, cool. All right. And so where are we at? I lost past Shade Pink 40. Okay. Shade Pink 40 I got Shade Pink 40's information. Shade Pink 40 contact me or Michael and give us your information. And they said, or Cherie Reed L.
Cherie Reed L already won. Cherie Reed L already got one.
So they said Shade Pink 40.
Yep.
So we'll get that to Shade Pink 40.
Okay.
All right. Shade Pink 40 said, okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right, that's it.
So
you guys enjoyed it.
For my own records, we got one more time. Marketeers Media.
Yep.
Phoenix Jean. Shay Pink 40.
Yep.
And Cherie Reed L. Hashtag Unoccupied Turtle Island.
Yep.
Okay, I'm over multitasking. That's it. He said that was great. Who is next? Who is next? Doctor Strange, anyone? Definitely. I need to still go see that. I was supposed to go last weekend. Things to do.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been resting and recovering from my tour and my travels recently. And so it's been a while since I've been on here. I'm not sure when I will be on my platform again speaking or with a guest. So stand by and stay tuned for more information. Michael, you have anything else for us? You want to close out?
No, that's it for me. Just
right.
Thank you for having me, and thank you all for coming. And see you next time.
Definitely. And as always, I appreciate you being here. And I agree with Phoenix Jean. This was awesome. So I enjoy every time you come on. And definitely we look forward to seeing you in the near future, in your time as you see fit. And you all are welcome, very much welcome. Definitely Sharon Moore Adams, definitely replay this. I would definitely appreciate anyone who missed any part of this to replay it. I would also encourage you all to like and share Royals, as Cherie Reed L. Hashtag Unoccupied Turtle Island has mentioned. Also, good build, metaverse, excellent. Definitely. I appreciate you all being here. Michael, again, thank you. I enjoy everyone's company here today. I enjoy your company always. Today, I'm feeling some kind of other way. So I definitely enjoy you all right now. I, again, am not sure when I'll be back. I got plenty to share. Just need to be taking some time right now and taking care of myself. So I will be I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you all. I'm looking forward to getting all of the winners, their prizes out to them and being a part of sharing this excellent set with everyone and the Tayet amulets. Thank you all for your time. Enjoy your evening. Peace from Karmic Dynasty.
That's right. Joy Allen. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The great goddess from the Karmic Dynasty YouTube channel. Okay, so you know she's going to be driving it. So you got to come see her. And she coming to a city near you. I said, look, listen. I saw the list. I saw Atlanta. I saw Virginia. Okay, I saw Washington. I saw Boston. So she's pulling up. Okay, Silence and Sound event and lecture tour. Where she's going to be dropping gems and illumination. Okay, I'm going to be tuning in. Each city is going to have its own topic. Each city is going to have its own topic. Okay, very interesting. That's a very interesting format. So I'm going to tune in and we got to check her out. I want y'all to be there. Okay, let's stay on the frequency, stay on their vibration. Okay, and support our beloved goddess. Okay, Wadu.